closer and closer to retirement age every day. And I don't want to just stop working, but I want to stop doing what I'm doing and I want to do something else. So this is a great opportunity to build wealth. And we'll talk about the wealth strategies in a second, but also just to have fun, hanging out with great people and helping other people do the same thing. So let's go on to the next one. Y'all need to think about why you're here. So before we get started, we're going to talk about wealth strategies. We're going to talk about precious metals. We need to make the lawyers happy. And we want to help you understand what we're talking about a little bit. So this is our product disclaimer, which is horribly out of focus. Pardon me just a minute, because I want you to be able to see it. That a little better? You need the TV.
Okay.
All right, so it's good. All right, so I'll summarize it for you. So purchasing precious metals, bullion, or collectibles, just like any other thing that you might put your money into, whether it's real estate, stock market, the bond market, there's risk associated with anything you do with your money. We are not financial advisors, and so we can't advise you on financial strategies per se, but we can talk about the strategies associated with our business and how we use precious metals in our business. I think it's also important to understand, if you've ever looked at an investment before, a mutual fund, stock, an annuity, there's this little disclaimer that says past performance is no indication of future results. We are going to talk about what precious metals, particularly gold and silver, have done in the past, but just because they've done something in the past doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do the same thing in the future. None of us have a crystal ball. Only thing we can do is look at what's happened, look at the conditions in the economy, in the world, events that cause those things to happen. And we can recognize similar events in our lives today, and we can make predictions. We all have to make our own predictions because, like I said, nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know the future, but we need to prepare for the future. And I think this is a really good piece, not everything, but a really good piece of how you could prepare for the future. So wealth strategies, we're going to talk about two different wealth strategies. How to preserve and grow wealth through precious metals, also referred to as sound money, as opposed to our paper dollars, fiat currency as it's called. The only reason that has value is because our government says so. It's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. You can all reach your own conclusions about how good that is today, as compared to what it might have been 50 or 100 years ago, but it is what it is. So we're going to talk about how to preserve and grow wealth using sound money. Our second strategy is how to develop a business utilizing precious metals, or as I like to say, creating a wealth system, leveraging gold and silver to produce a residual income stream. Now that's something that most of us here are very excited about. I'm going to date myself with this comment a little bit, but I like to call it mailbox. A good friend of mine, actually, as far as I know, coined that term mailbox. Like to go to the mailbox and get it out. We don't really go to the mailbox to get money anymore. It shows up in our account, but we'll still call it mailbox. All right, so those are the two things. Let's talk about the first one. I want to talk about using gold and silver as a hedge against inflation. Well, what's happened with the value of our dollar? Well, way back here in 1913, when the Federal Reserve was created, the Federal Reserve Act, a dollar was worth $1 in 1913 terms. Well, a lot of things have happened since then. In 1944, there was a world conference in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire at the Mount Washington Hotel, a family favorite of ours. We actually been there a few times. But they established the US dollar as the reserve currency for the world. The dollar was backed by gold. Everybody else pegged their currency to the dollar. 1971, things changed. We had done the Korean War not too long before that, back in the late 40s. We were in the middle or wrapping up our involvement in Vietnam. And we were printing a lot of money. Social programs have become more popular, so we were pushing more money into the economy for social programs, pushing more money into the economy to fight wars. And some of the other countries of the world started to get a little bit concerned about what we were doing and where we really, did we still have enough gold in Fort Knox to back the dollars that we were printing. So Japan and others started to ask for their money back. So I'm sorry, for their gold back. And so President Nixon got on TV and made some speech about how, he wanted to protect our dollar from currency manipulators. Basically, what he was doing was giving us license to just print dollars without restriction. And he took us off the gold standard. So since 1971, our dollar has no longer been backed by gold. Fast forwarding to just a couple of years ago, 2021, that dollar from 1913 was worth 2.97, rounded off to 3 cents. So our dollar has fallen significantly in value. So what, understanding inflation, what has happened in other countries when they started uncontrollably printing dollars? Well, right after World War I, into moving in towards World War II, in Germany, the exchange rate ended at 1 trillion to 1, a trillion German marks to $1. Crazy runaway inflation. In Argentina, 1975 to 1992, the Argentinian peso was 100 billion to 1 US dollar. Now, interestingly enough, on April 28th, I remember that date because it's my wife's birthday, April 28th, 1989, the Argentinian government was crazy, printing money because they didn't have enough money. People were wheeling wheelbarrows of money up to pay their electric bill. I mean, that's how bad it was. They stopped printing money on April 28th, 1989. I would like to tell you that's because they gained fiscal responsibility. I'd like to tell you that, but it wouldn't be true. They stopped printing money. Anybody guess why they stopped printing money? They ran out of paper. They literally ran out of paper, so they couldn't print any money. That's the only thing that stopped them from printing. In Zimbabwe, 2000 to 2009, a 10 billion to 1, their dollar to the US dollar. So let's look at what's going on now. What's happening with the US dollar today? Well, if we look back to 2012 up through about 2020, you can see that the M1, which is our money supply of our dollars in the US, was pretty much tracking with the world average. But something happened in 2020, worldwide global pandemic. And our country went a little crazy with printing money. And you can see what happened to the dollars that we've printed as compared to the world average, just in the very short recent past. Now, this isn't about politics. Both major political parties did this to us. And we are now 33 some odd trillion dollars in debt and growing. And about 10% of our annual budget, which we don't balance, is just to pay the interest on the debt. It's projected in the next 10 years that number is going to climb to 20 to 25% of our annual budget is going to be just to pay interest on the debt. Now, our dollar was just revalued, or I mean, our economy, our bonds were just reduced in rating by Fitch from AAA to AA plus, which means the interest on all our borrowing is now going to be higher because we're a higher risk than we were just a month ago. Go ahead. So what can we do about it? How can we protect our money? Well, what if there was a way that you could take just some of your dollars that you're currently saving, instead of keeping them in paper, if you could put them in a special little box, right? And if you put them in that special box, they wouldn't lose any value. They might even potentially increase in value. How many dollars would you want to put in that box? Many as I could, right? There's a way. You can transfer depreciating fiat currency, paper dollars, into sound money or gold and silver. I'm not talking about buying a new shirt. I'm not talking about buying a TV, something you spend money on that eventually wears out. I'm talking about converting one type of money to another type of money that has a better long-term perspective or prospective or whatever the right word is of not losing value. Another way to think about it is we should all be saving money on a monthly basis. Divert some of your savings to sound money. There's great places to save money. Number one, you should have a little bit of money set aside in a very liquid savings account. One of the best places to save money is in the cash value of a whole life insurance policy. But another one we would suggest, based on what we're talking about here tonight, is diverting some, not all, some of your savings into sound money. Sound money, also known as gold and silver, are a secret that the wealthy have used for ages. Notice I didn't say the secret, it's a secret. There are other things that wealthy people have used to accumulate and preserve wealth over the years. We just talked about whole life insurance policies. Whole life insurance policies are a secret strategy of wealthy people to protect, preserve, and transfer tax-free wealth to multiple generations. But gold and silver is one of those secrets. In fact, governments and financial institutions are the largest holders of gold in the world. The number one holder of gold in the world is the United States government, followed by Germany, followed by Italy, followed by France, Russia, China, and I forget the rest. But countries own a lot of gold. Maybe they know something about their currencies. What about private individuals? Who owns the most gold as private individuals? Well, number one is a gentleman by the name of John Paulson. He's an American hedge fund manager. He's a billionaire. And one thing that John said, this is a quote from him: if you don't own gold, you know neither history nor economics. Ray Dalio, another billionaire and founder and chief investment officer of Bridgewater Associates. Depending on what day it is, it's one of the top two or three largest hedge funds in the world. He says you're better off owning gold than dollars due to de-dollarization. What is de-dollarization? Well, it's people moving away from the dollar as the world currency. There was just the BRICS thing that, with,
Yeah, Brits.
yeah, exactly, right. They were just talking about how can we create a new currency to try to replace the dollar. Everything I've read says they really don't have a way to do that, but it's still things that people are talking about.
But I just have to say, because I found out they're looking at gold. Like they want to replace, they're smart.
Right. And number three, royal family in Saudi Arabia. They have a lot of gold too. All right. So let's talk about silver. Let's talk about gold. In 1965, 2,500 ounces of silver was worth at $1 an ounce, $2,500. With that, you could buy a brand new car. In 2021, that same 2,500 ounces of silver was worth just under $70,000, about $67,000. You could have bought 2 new cars. So this 2,500 ounces of silver, fast forward to 2021, is worth $67,000 to $2,500 US dollars paper fiat currency. Now doesn't give you enough to put a down payment probably on one of those 2 new cars. How about gold? In 2000, the average price of a home in the US was $169,000. With 626 ounces of gold, you could have bought a new house. Again, fast forward to 2021, that same 626 ounces of gold had appreciated to be worth $1.2 million, which would buy you 3 average homes in the US. So real estate has gone up a lot, but the same amount of gold that bought you 1 house can now buy you 3. Yeah. What about college tuition? This one kind of blows my mind because I kind of feel like maybe it's because we had kids that just came through college and another one ready to go soon. I feel like college tuition has just gone crazy and it's just skyrocketing out of control. But in 2001, with 47 ounces of gold, a nice round number, you could pay for 1 year of college tuition, which averaged just about $13,000, $12,900. Now that's not room and board and all that stuff. Just the tuition was about $13,000. In 2021, that would cover 3 years or close to, that would cover 3 years of tuition, 16 ounces of gold, 28,000 each. So 16 times 3 is 48 ounces, right? So 48 ounces of gold versus the 47 would get you 3 years of college tuition and study. So we've been talking about wealth strategy number one, right? How do we use gold and silver to protect, preserve, and grow our wealth? Transferring fiat currency to sound money. Taking a little bit of your savings every month, instead of saving it in a bank account, saving it in sound money. Let's say, all right, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good idea. Maybe I want to do that. Well, probably has some questions. I don't know what to buy. Who should I buy it from? I don't know who to trust. How much money do I need? Do I need to buy like a whole gold bar for $3,000? How do I decide what to buy? Do I need to be an expert? Well, here's what we found in the industry, just kind of surveying the market. People have different opinions. Some people think you should buy bullion. People think you should invest in collectibles or buy collectibles or non-collectibles, or there's lots of different ways to get involved. The reason there's different advice, there's mixed messages, because there are different strategies depending on your goals. So we can offer a strategy through our program at 7K, regardless of your goal, whether you think that the government is just going to continue to make stupid decisions and you just want to have a way to preserve wealth, well, you might want to look at bullion. If you want to add growth to that, you might want to look at the collectibles. But either way, we have both. We see that a lot of companies have high minimums and high fees because of that. It's a tough learning curve to know what you want to get. We also see companies similar to banks, right? So banks have a reserve requirement for the money they keep in the vault or the money they keep in their bank. See, I'm not sure what the number is now, but it used to be 10%. So of all the deposits, they actually have to have 10% just in case people come to get their money out. We have 100%. So every gold bullion, every partial silver bullion, every round, everything that anybody buys is in the vault, or you can have it shipped directly to you. And it doesn't have 7 people's name on it, hoping that not everybody asks for it at the same time. So yeah, we're not like some of those other companies. We offer physical gold, bullion, silver, rounds, and coins. We only sell the inventory we have. We have no minimums, no maximums, period. You can actually buy through the fractional gold and silver program, and you can literally buy $1 worth of gold, sell $1 worth of gold. And we have the easiest liquidation process. It's instant and it's simple to do. With a click of a button, you can move money to gold, gold to money, paper, right? And if you've collected gold and silver in the past, maybe you've got to go down to the local shop. You got to try to haggle over how much they're going to give it to you. We have one of the best buyback rates in the market. We have a very simple way to liquidate if you need to. Fractional gold and silver, literally gold and silver for $1. So it's easy, it's simple, it's affordable. Anybody can get started. Bullion. We talked a little bit about gold bullion. What does that mean? Silver, gold, and gold bars. Fractional bars, silver and gold coins and rounds, non-minted coins, fractional and silver and gold. Bullion is the defensive strategy. It's got the lowest premium. It's the least costly way to get into gold and silver. And if you're just concerned about the government screwing up really bad and that's your only concern and you just want to have money in gold and silver, then that's the strategy, the key portion of that strategy. However, just like any good sports team, that defensive strategy, the defense also needs an offense. You can't win games if you don't score points or runs or goals or whatever, right? So that's where the collectibles come in. What makes something collectible? Well, low mintage, meaning it's rare or somewhat rare. It's got an interesting or incredible design. There's a historic relevance or a story that's associated with it. Collectibles have been around for years and decades. You know, you might have seen some of these things before. The Spider-Man comic book back from 1962. I still think I threw that thing away. Mine wasn't in mint condition though. But that thing sold at Heritage Auctions recently for $3.6 million. This Mickey Mantle baseball card, $12.6 million in 2023. Inverted Jenny, the biplane upside down on a postage stamp, you know, $1.6 million. The Boba Fett figurine, the Star Wars thing. I can't see what it says, but you can. A lot of money. And this is blurry.
Yeah.
And then the Pikachu Pokemon card, right? A lot of money for that too. So collectibles are a way to create value. You can start building long-term wealth. Let's look at coins more specifically through 7K. This Tiffany art coin, if you had bought it back in 2004 when it was minted, it was $90. Currently it's selling, depending on the condition of the coin, whether it's an MS-70 or less, is $5,000 to $10,000 on the open market. The Starry Night Van Gogh painting micro puzzle was $90 back in 2019. Currently $1,000 to $1,500. The Julius Caesar coin from $349 to close to $1,000. The Montana butterfly, which we might have some examples to show tonight. It's originally $139, now over $1,000. So collectibles, they're still that hedge against inflation, but they also give the ability for growth and appreciation. And 7K not only has relationships with some of the best mints, biggest, largest mints around the world, but we also mint our own coins, and only our members have premier exclusive access to those coins that you can't get anywhere else, which just creates a higher value and a higher demand for those coins. So how do we make it easy to get into the collecting market? Well, monthly auto saver. Honestly, that's the key. Getting on, you know, as you get started in the business, the monthly auto saver program allows you to, again, dedicate a portion of your savings every month to gold and silver. There's additional collectibles that you can buy separate and distinct from your monthly auto saver, and they have occasional rare coin drops that you can take advantage of. But the basis of the business is just auto saver. Just get started. Once you start accumulating coins, as part of the membership, you get an account with Stack and Sell, a third-party company that allows you to scan the barcode on your coin. It tracks your inventory, purchase date, purchase amount, and it tracks the value of all your portfolio so you can see how things are moving along. We have training programs. We have a lot of training, but specifically on strategy number one, there's training for buyers certification training, understanding the various strategies associated with precious metals and how you can buy things to support those strategies, and collectors more on the numismatic or the collectible side. And, you know, coins, precious metals, rare coins, gold, silver are a part of, according to Inc. magazine, wealthy families use 5 main asset classes to protect and grow their wealth: real estate, fine art, rare coins, gold, and usable precious metals. So we kind of cover 3 of those, even a 4th with the fine art. If you look at some of the things in those paper ones are pretty incredible. All right, so that was wealth strategy number 1. Okay, using precious metals, sound money, gold and silver to preserve and grow, protect wealth. We have a membership for that. Our standard membership, we have 2 memberships. We have a standard membership and a premium membership. If your primary purpose of looking at this, your primary objective, your goal, your interest is wealth strategy number 1, when we're all done, then the standard membership is perfect for you. That allows you to buy at the wholesale member direct prices. The premium membership is more suited for wealth strategy number 2, which we'll get into a little bit right now. So why is wealth strategy number 2, building a business, helping people build a business to create residual income, so timely in our economy right now? Well, this year, according to this survey, half of our fellow countrymen and women can't write a check for $400 in cash. After working 10, 20, 30 years, they don't have $400 in an account that they could write a check against. So there's a need for people to have more income. So we're going to talk about wealth strategy number 2, developing a business to create long-term residual income or mailbox money. So before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the cash flow quadrant. So I don't know how many people are familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, but Robert Kiyosaki was a second-generation Japanese American in Hawaii. And he wrote a book years ago called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The basic story behind that is he had 2 dads. One was his actual father. The other was his best friend Mike's father. Okay. So his father was went to Stanford, got his MBA at the University of Chicago. And at the time of the writing of the book, or just before, was a Secretary of Education for the state of Hawaii. His best friend Mike's dad was a high school dropout. So he had his rich dad and his poor dad. His rich dad was Mike's dad, the high school dropout. His poor dad was his actual dad, this University of Chicago MBA Secretary of Education for the state of Hawaii. And his poor dad taught him this concept of the cash flow quadrant. And how do you earn your money? Where does your money come from? Well, he breaks it up into the E quadrant, which stands for employee. A lot of us are employees. We get a W-2, we get a paycheck from a company we don't own. That's the E quadrant. The S quadrant, some of us are self-employed. We have a business, but it's really a practice or a profession. We're specialists, we're self-employed, we're Superman or Superwoman with an S on our chest because we got to do it all ourselves, right? We're one-armed paper hangers. The B stands for a big business owner. The difference between an S quadrant self-employed type of a company and a big business B is if you own that and you go away for a year, if you have a business, it'll be bigger than it was when you left. If you have an S quadrant self-employed scenario, there won't be anything there when you get back, right? And then the I quadrant stands for investor. So employee, self-employed, big business, investor. Go ahead. So what he talks about in that book is that to create wealth, we really need to move from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. You need to create leverage. So you need to either have people working for you in a business, or you need to have money working for you in investments. But we can't continue to trade hours or time for dollars and really create wealth. We just don't have the leverage. So with this business, we've talked about the precious metals, we've talked about saving money in precious metals, sound money. How do you turn that into a business? Well, you share that concept with others. If this makes sense for us and we're smart enough to look at it and say, hey, this makes sense. It makes sense to transfer some of my paper fiat money into sound money and protect it. Well, if we can think of that and think it's a good idea, it's reasonable to assume that others might feel the same way too. So we share the concept with other people like we're doing here tonight. We earn points based on the collective volume of all of our partners in the business who buy their autosaver every month, right? And we get paid based on those points. So how does that work? Well, you get started, okay? You get started, you buy, in this case, I would recommend the premium membership based on what we talked about earlier. And you need to establish 2 teams. What I like to say is find 2 team captains, right? Look at all the people that you know and find 2 people that you think would be good people that would be partners with you that could help grow the business and you could help them grow their business. So 2 team captains. When you work with your team captains to help them each create 500 points, you get a check for $500. Right now we have a special thing going on. Actually, if we can help your partners get to 250 points, you get a check for $250. And those checks are paid weekly. Moving up the ladder from associate to copper, if you get 1,000 or more points on both sides and both of your teams, you get a check for 1,000. And again, that's paid weekly. How do you get points? Well, everybody who signs up becomes a member of our team, gets their own retail website. Your own personal retail website. You can give that website to people who might be interested in gold and silver. And if they purchase through your website, you get points for those retail sales. You also get a piece of the spread between wholesale and retail. The monthly auto saver program we talked about. Most important part of creating long-term generational wealth is to start on that auto saver program. There's also opportunities, as I mentioned, for the coin drops and extra rare coin sales. Those are great. If you want to have a grown-up coin collection, okay, that's the way to do it. There's other purchases through the business, a health insurance plan, there's other things, but if you just help people get started and get on that monthly auto saver, we're good. And then when people sign up, because when they sign up and become a member, there's product associated with that, stack and sell membership and other things. 7K is actually able to pay points. We can't pay points for people just signing up because products transfer or change hands as part of your membership. Then you can actually get points on those as well. So depending on the type of membership, those points add up and go through your system also. All right, so we talked about getting started. As you rank up, you can go from $500 a week, literally up to $12,500 a week at the highest level in the business. So we talked about having a business, moving from the left side to the right side of the quadrant. What do you need for that business to be successful? Remember, in our last diagram, Robert Kiyosaki recommended moving from the E quadrant to the B quadrant, from the S quadrant to the B quadrant, starting with a business, creating cash flow from the business, using that to put into your investment quadrant. 2 quadrants are better than 1. These are where you want to be. But starting here, what do you need for a business to be successful? Well, a lot of things, right? You need a good product, you need a good compensation plan, you need service, you need all those things. But what he talks about specifically in his book is you need a well-defined, comprehensive system and people to work the system. Well, we have the people and we have a system. And for those of you who have been here before, usually we take a few minutes break when I'm done, introducing people to say hello. And then for those who are interested, we're going to talk about a few extra things tonight. We're going to talk about how to get to a point where you're making money quickly, but also we're really excited to kick off very soon, October 14th, at our first training as part of our Gold Rush system. So we're going to give you a sneak preview of what our Gold Rush system is going to be about afterwards tonight. We're really excited about that. All right, so well-defined comprehensive system. We're going to tell you about that and people to work the system. All right, can't trade time for money to create wealth. So moving up the ladder of success here at 7K, the first level is associate. How do you get started? How do you become an associate? Well, you get 2 team captains. When you have your 2 team captains and you start working to help them build their teams, you get 500 points on the left, or now 250 on the right, 250 on the left, 500 on the left, 500 on the right. You get a check for either $250 or $500. That's a weekly check that you're eligible for. So you can earn up to $500 a week. You can earn less than $500 a week. Okay, but once you're at that level, you can max out at $500 a week as you work your way up the ladder. You know, as at the copper level, and you know, again, 2 people, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. I'm sorry, 1,000 points on each side. You get a $1,000 check per week, and then what you do is you help 2 of your people, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, become an associate like you did. What you see as you look at this chart, if you understand this, you need 1 associate on each side to be a copper. You need 1 copper on each side to be a bronze. You need 1 bronze on each side to be a silver, 1 silver on each side to be a gold. That tells us 2 things, right? One is None of us in this room can be successful without helping other people become successful as well. That's exciting. But something else that's exciting is you only need 2 growing groups, 1 on each side. You don't need 14 people on each side to get to some crazy level to make money. You can get all the way to $7,000 a week at goal with just 2 growing groups. Now, it's not necessarily true that the first 2 groups you start are going to be the fastest growing groups. You might want to find others that go faster, but you just need 2 growing groups. That kind of rolls into our strategy of our accelerator plan, or as we like to call the family whatever pack. What would I call it?
Yeah.
Family business pack,
Family
that's it,
business.
yeah. What did I call it again? All right. So, and now to move on to executive goal and presidential goal, you see you need 2 growing groups on each side, a total of 4 growing groups. But yeah, is it exciting to think about making $12,500 a week? Sure it is. But what about just getting to the bronze level at $2,000 a week? Or $500? Depending on anybody's own personal situation, $500 a week, $2,000, a little over $2,000 a month. That's a big difference. Top $4,000 a month. That's a big difference. So think about it like building an asset, right? So at the associate level, $500 a week times 52 weeks is $26,000 a year. A couple of questions. Most of us have a job. I don't see myself getting a $26,000 a year raise this year or next year or the year after that, or all 3 of those years added up together. But you can give yourself a $26,000 a year raise with help from our team here. And what would you need in the bank at 5% to produce $26,000 a year in income? $500,000. Maybe you have $500,000 in the bank, maybe you don't. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that we don't. How long would it take to get from where we are today to have that $500,000 saved in the bank? So at 5%, you could kick off $26,000 a year in income. I can tell you there are people here that have gone from 0 to associate in 30 days or less. Now, they're not necessarily making that $500 a week yet. You don't get $500 a week for putting 2 team captains in place. You have to build your team. But a lot of people get to that $500 a week level in a whole lot less time than it would take to save $500,000. How about copper? $52,000 a year, a little over $1 million set aside at 5% to create that same income stream. Bronze, 2 million, silver, a little over 3.5 million, gold, 7.2 million, executive gold, 10 million, and $13 million at presidential gold.
Mhm.
If we don't have the $500,000, we're probably gonna have a stretch to get to the $13 million anytime soon, right? So just another way to think about it, right? Build the business to whatever level works for you. We're going to talk a lot about building to bronze, making $2,000 a week, $104,000 a year, equivalent to a $2 million asset at 5%. All right. Who is 7K? Who started 7K? Where did we come from? Well, in 2016, these 4 gentlemen, Josh Anderson, Richard Hansen, Roger Ball, Zach Davis, friends from other business, associates and friends from other business ventures they've been involved in together over the years. They got together and they wanted to put something together around gold and silver. So they put together 7K. And for those of you who are interested in knowing more about the backstory of 7K, talk to the person who invited you here. They can give you a 40-minute video. It's basically these 4 gentlemen just talking about how they started it, why they started it, looking, at what they were trying to do. But really, really interesting. Roger Ball, he's the money, the security behind the business. He's the largest billionaire in the state of Idaho. So he has given 100% support and backing financially to this business when it got started as it was growing. Today, Ronnie mentioned that the contest going on that we're participating in, trying to bump into the top 20 because then we can have somebody from corporate come out and talk to us. But over 100,000 independent business owners, independent distributors in the business right now. Just under, or maybe just over now, I didn't check recently, $400 million in annual revenue. So from 2016 to today, almost $500 million in revenue. We're coming up on the heels of companies like this who have been in business for decades. I could name names, but I won't, that are hovering around the $500 million and have been around that level for a number of years. Go ahead. So this is their mission statement, kind of, they want to use the power of gold and silver to help people that are struggling in the economy to be able to get ahead and have a way to create multi-generational wealth. I had a conversation, Zach Davis was one of the names up there, one of the gentlemen who started the business. His younger brother, Blake, is the chief marketing officer for the company. I was fortunate enough, as I was looking at the business, to have an opportunity to talk with him on a Zoom call. And he said, it's all about the legacy. We're trying to help people build a legacy for their children and their children's children. And it's just something that's exciting. So we talked about the two memberships. The premium membership is what we recommend if you want to take advantage of wealth strategy number 2. Remember, wealth strategy number 1 is just saving some of your monthly savings, moving it away from paper dollars that are rapidly depreciating even more rapidly than ever. And in this country, we're not Zimbabwe, at least not yet. And moving that into sound money, gold and silver, to protect and preserve and grow those assets. That's the standard membership, perfect for that. You don't need all the bells and whistles with the premium membership. You can do wealth strategy number 2 with either one of these memberships. The premium membership, if you're excited and you're serious, it has more things included. Okay, but the premium membership is $499, just under $500. The standard membership is $199. $500 to start a business where you can create long-term residual income that even at the associate level would be the equivalent right now with today's interest rates of having a $500,000 asset in the bank, or moving up to copper, having the equivalent of a $2 million asset, moving up to bronze and so forth for a $500 investment. Ronnie mentioned that I've had other business interests over the years, and yes, one of them was a place similar, not exactly, but similar to this, an indoor baseball training facility outside of Boston. And we went in there and it was an empty warehouse, had no heat, had electricity, but we had to put in lights, had no restrooms. We had to put in restrooms. We had to put in a counter to greet the people when they came in, to get a vending machine, soda for the vending machine, Gatorade for the kids to sell to the kids. I know we spent more than $500 on the Gatorade, right? That's not counting all the other stuff we had to do to get started in that business. For $500, you can get started in this business, and the potential, the upside of this is significantly higher than that baseball training center. Right? I don't have it anymore. All right, good. All right, so again, back to the lawyers, right? So we were talked about at the beginning, we talked about wealth strategy number 1, dealing with precious metals. So we talked about the potential risks of investing in any type of opportunity, right? Now we talked about a business. So we want to give you the business facts, the income statistics, right? So associates can earn up to $26,000 a year, but this past year, the highest earning associate earned $16,500 a year. So I can't do the math that fast in my head. That's probably still like having about $300,000 in the bank, right? So that's pretty good. Copper, you can see all these. Gold, the highest one was $360,000 a year. Interestingly enough, that person maxes out the compensation plan at $7,000 a week. But he used the strategy that we were talking about, the accelerator program or the business family pack.
Yeah.
He started off himself, qualified as gold, sponsored his wife and one of his children, and built their businesses to gold. So he does make $360,000 as a gold, and he's not an executive or a presidential gold. He's still a gold, but he actually makes over $1 million a year as a gold. But not on that one business. It's the three businesses combined. So we have some days of working. All right, go ahead. So what are your options? Kind of ran through the two different strategies. You know, transferring some of your savings to sound money, building a business for residual income. Well, one option would be do nothing. I guess I didn't put that one up there. Option two, or the next option, the first one on the board here, is to buy retail from the person who invited you. If you're interested in gold and silver, you see the wisdom of transferring some of your paper money or using a portion of your savings and moving it into sound money instead of paper money. The person who invited you can give you their website with their retail account, and you can pay retail and buy from them. And they get points for that, and they get commissions for that. I don't know why you would do that, but you could do that. Option two, if you're interested in just wealth strategy number one, I highly recommend that you get the standard membership for $199. If you're going to stick with the savings plan, you're going to make that money back multiple times over by getting member direct prices instead of paying retail. And you can just execute that strategy. Or you could get a premium membership and create residual income. Now, again, you can do that with both memberships, but if you're serious about doing this, the premium membership gives you more capabilities. Right? How do you decide? Well, I think you should make a decision that's best for you, not best for the person who invited you, not best for me. Make a decision that's best for you. Well, how do you do that? Well, I had questions when I first looked at this a couple months ago, and here they are. So number one, am I, because it was me who was asking the question, but put your own self in there, right? Are you really looking to do something to enhance your financial future? Or are you very content, very happy with where you are right now? That's certainly a possibility. And if you are, that's fantastic. We're very, very happy for you. But are you looking to create independence, economic independence, financial independence? If you are, why? Because I used to do consulting for a bank, and we helped the banks move people from paper statements to digital statements. And people talked about one way to get people to do that is, well, you could offer them $5 in their account if they switched. And some people would go for that. But I said, man, I wouldn't even get out of bed 10 minutes earlier in the morning for $5. I'm not going to switch my whole bank account over, right? So what I'm trying to say there is you need something that's important enough for you to make a change. You know, somebody that we used to know years ago would say, if you want to change some things in your life, you need to change some things in your life. You need to have a reason to want to do that. Otherwise, you're just going to stay the course. What options do you have? Well, this is one. It's not the only thing. There are other things you can do to create a different financial future. There are other businesses you could start. You could start a place like this. I don't recommend it, but you could. You could invest in real estate. Well, not for $500. Just saying. Some businesses are even similar to this. I'll cover that in a second. Is the business plan, including the product, pricing, service, and compensation model, solid? Well, let's talk about the product for a second. As I said, there are other businesses similar to this. We know somebody who has a business where you can create teams of people and you can move different products, and one of those is wine. That's an option. A lot of these businesses are geared around very unique health shakes or weight loss shakes or things like that. And and I'm huge into nutrition. But those are things that have an expiration date. And Zach Davis has this little story that he tells that made it very clear to me. He said, let's say, David, that I'm desperately in need of $5,000. And I come to you and say, listen, David, I got a deal for you. I've got $10,000 worth of nutrition and weight loss shakes in my basement. They've been there forever, and I don't know how good they are, but they're there. You can have all of those as collateral if you give me $5,000. And if I don't come back in 90 days and give you your $5,000, you can keep them. See ya. Okay. Deal number 2, Monty Hall, for all those of us old enough. Let's make a deal, right? Where the curtain where Carol Merrill is now standing. Here's deal number 2. I've got $10,000 worth of gold. Same deal. I need $5,000. Here's $10,000 worth of gold. If I don't come back in 90 days with your $5,000, you can keep the $10,000 in gold. We have a deal?
You take that deal.
You take that deal. He changed his address too, so I couldn't find him.
And name.
Right? Okay. So talking about the product, our product isn't as good as gold. It is gold, right?
That's right.
Good product, good pricing, good service, and the compensation model. Let's talk about the compensation model, because I've looked at and been involved in this type of a program before. And I have met and seen people that make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And I've also met people who never made a dime. The compensation plans of a lot of businesses like this are structured so that the people that rise to the top and create massive, huge networks make a lot of money. And what happens is the people at the bottom get started and they get replaced and replaced and replaced and replaced and replaced.
Mhm.
With this business, even at presidential gold, the maximum income level in 7K is that $12,500 a week or $650,000 a year. Now, I don't want to say only $650,000 a year, because that would put you in the top 1% of income earners in the country. But because that they capped that at $650,000 a year, it pushes more money down to lower levels in the program. So even as an associate, you can make $26,000 a year. You don't have to have hundreds of thousands of people in your team to make a lot of money in this program. You can be a bronze with 23 people in your program. Now, you won't make $2,000 a week, but you'll be qualified to make $2,000 a week. And with the system that we put together, you can get to that level by focusing on those 2 growing groups. We'll talk about that. So is the company well-funded? And is it secure? And that they structured the various aspects in a way that secures the future of the business, its members, and associates. So we talked about Roger Ball, largest billionaire. He has billions of dollars backing this company. And that was there as a cushion in the early days when all the potholes and the bumps and as they were figuring things out. It's pretty smooth now. Things are running on all cylinders. He's still there. His checkbook is still there if we need it. But as I said, we have over 100,000 members in the program right now, and just about $400 million in annual revenue, looking to get over $500,000 here in the next year or 2. So it's doing well. Are the founders and leaders of the business integrity base and the type of people I, and by extension, my family would want to be associated with? You know, I just knew that if I wanted to get involved with a company, I don't want to be involved with a bunch of reprobates. And they let me in anyway. Right. So no, I mean, I met some great people as part of this program. I met some great people with the company. Excited about building the future with the team that we have in place. Is it important for me to succeed in a manner that allows me to help others succeed also? think I skipped one. Is there a plan and a system to help me succeed? And will someone be there to help me? Yes, yes. If you hang around after the introductions, we're gonna talk about that gold rush system that we're rolling out here in a few weeks. And we're really, really excited about this program, really excited. Now, is it important for me to succeed in a manner that allows me to help others succeed also? Like I said, you can't be a copper in the program unless you help two people become associates. You can't be a bronze unless you help two people become coppers. So our success is built on the success of others, not on the backs of others, but on the success of others. Yes, that was important to me. I'm a coach and a teacher by nature. It's not what I do as a chief strategy officer necessarily, teach maybe a little. But I've coached baseball, I've coached swimming. Those are probably the only things that people should listen to me in sports. So I did both of those and I love doing it. And being part of a program like this where we can help and mentor and coach others and help them succeed is exciting. It doesn't have to be. If that's not your thing, maybe this isn't for you. How can I get started quickly and correctly? We're going to talk about that after the break. So those were my questions, Rick. So we're down to a decision time, right? Why or why not? Well, as I said earlier, you should make a decision that's good for you. If you're looking at this for the first time, it might be that you're ready to go. Maybe you saw enough here tonight that you want to get started, and that's great. Whoever invited you is happy to help you with that. It might be that if you're looking at this for the first time, you've got some questions. Great, write them down. I had my questions, I shared them with you. You don't have to have mine, you can have your own. And probably have more. Right? But get with the person who invited you and they can help get those questions answered for you. Now, be fair, if they're brand new in the business, they might not be able to answer them all themselves, but they can get the answers for you. Just be willing to be patient while those answers are retrieved, right? Okay, so if you're looking at this for the second or third time, I'd say, the purpose of analysis is to reach a conclusion. So reach and get started or become a customer or do something else, right? All right, go ahead. What's next? All right, so why not? We're going to talk about why or why not. Let's start with the why not. Here's the 4,600 leading excuses. No, that's a reminder for me. I don't have enough time. I would tell you that it's very obvious, but we all have the same amount of time. It's just a matter of what we choose to do with our time. I'm not going to take out my list of priorities that I created. When I looked at this, one of the things I thought about was I already don't spend enough time on things that are very important to me. Do I really want to introduce something else into the picture? Is it important enough to introduce into the picture? So I decided to create my priorities. My priorities don't have to be your priorities, but my number one priority was my relationship with God. I put that on the top of the list, to be perfectly honest with you, because I was supposed to. But I don't know that my calendar reflected that. My number two priority was my relationship with my wife. Same deal, right? I put it there because I was supposed to, but I probably spent more time focused on triathlons, races, and swimming races and training than I did on my top two priorities. And I have other priorities after that, but this is 6. This is number 6 on my list, but I still have time to do it. Why? Because I think it's important. I think it's important to do for my family. And I think it's important to share the opportunity so people can see this for their family and make a good decision for them based on the information. I can't afford the investment. Well, $199 can get you started, or $499 if you want to do the faster track. Honestly, if that's really the case, you should probably talk to the person that brought you here and figure out a way to do it, because I think you need to find a way to increase your income circle, right? I don't know anyone. Well, you can get all the way to gold with 2 growing teens. Do you know 2? Maybe we can get those two started. How many people on your Facebook, whatever you call that, friend, I don't have that thing, but Facebook group, right? How many people on LinkedIn? How many people on whatever, all those other social media things on? Neighbors, friends, people at work, people from church. You gotta know some people, right? I kind of skipped over this reminder that I put there so I wouldn't forget, and I forgot it anyway. So I don't have enough time. Let's talk about that for a second. 10 years from now, where are you gonna be? What's the path you're on? Look ahead and see where you're gonna be. Lord willing, 10 years from now, we're gonna be here, whether we do this or not. And maybe we don't have a lot of time. Well, let me ask you a question. If we really work this as hard as we possibly could with our team, with our mentors, with all the help we can muster, do you think in a year's time, we could help you get 8 people on your team? Just 8, not even 1 a month.
Mhm.
Now, let's say we push that 10 years out, and every year, those 8 people get 1 a year. That's all. 10 years from now, you would have 4,600 people on your team. Now, if you're going to be here 10 years from now, one way or the other, why not have 4,600 people on your team? Let's just say 20% of them quit. I just picked 20%. 20%. That's 800, roughly, a little more. 800. You have 3,800 people on your team. Some of us just had the opportunity to be with our upline presidential goal. She happens to have 3,800 people on her team, and she's a presidential goal. So apparently, properly structured with 3,800 people on your team, you could be a presidential goal. Actually, you could be one with a lot fewer than that. You just won't max out the bonuses, right? Now, what if the 8 people that you got started this year said, no, I don't want to just get 1 a year. I want to get my 8 first too. Well, if everybody who got started got 8 in the first year and then just got 1 a year after that, you'd have over 8,000 people on your team. You would max out the bonus at presidential goal. Last one. Do referral marketing businesses work? They do if you work. 100% of the people who don't do anything in businesses like this don't make any money. 100% of the people that do a little bit of work can make a little bit of money. And 100% of the people, do this, 10 years, 8 plus 1 a year, 4,600 people. I've seen too many people do things like this. I know it works. You just need to know for you that it works. All right, so why not? So here's 2 guys you may recognize or maybe not. This guy here on the left of the screen, if you're looking at the screen, is Robert Kiyosaki. He's the guy I was talking about, did the cash flow quadrant book, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. A lot of cool books. He's a multi-millionaire. I think his net worth is somewhere, last time I checked, around $300 million. Has a lot of investment property, has a lot of other types of businesses. The guy on the right, you may have seen before, Donald Trump, right? His net worth is somewhere in the billions. Hard to know because his corporations are privately owned. But they wrote a book, and this PDF is an excerpt from the book, Why We Recommend Network Marketing. There are many benefits in the network marketing industry. And Robert Kiyosaki says in his cash flow book, if you're going to build a business, you need to have a system. You can start a C corporation and you can create your own system. You can buy a franchise like McDonald's for millions of dollars, and they have a system. It's honestly called Hamburger University. Yeah. If you buy a McDonald's franchise, it's in Chicago. McDonald's has a place in Chicago. It's a school for new franchisees called Hamburger University. Or for $500 or $199 if you prefer, you can get started in our business in network marketing as recommended by these 2 guys, not specifically our business, although we do hear rumors through the grapevine that Robert Kiyosaki signed up in 7K. That doesn't surprise me because he is a strong recommender of gold. Anyway, what's next? So why? So we talked a little bit about the whys. I talked a little bit about, what I wanted to do. We have some people here. Is Ronnie coming back? Ah,
Okay.
okay. I went too long. We're right on schedule here. All right. So we have some people here with us tonight who have achieved at a minimum that associate level or above. That means they've set up a business that allows them or positions them to make up to $500 a week. And I'd like to have those folks say a few words so you don't have to keep listening to me. And just tell you a little bit about, who they are, where they're from, what do they do in their day job when they're not in their jump into the phone booth and put on their 7K super costume, right? And what they saw when they looked at this and why are they doing it. So I'm going to start with Meg here, my
okay.
lovely assistant.
Okay,
So
sure.
let me just say a little bit about Meg. So I've known Meg now for a couple months since I got started in this business. And she's just a delightful person to know. She is what we used to refer to as a PPP, a perpetual positive proclaimer. Okay. She is just a very positive person, a very energetic person. She brings enthusiasm and good cheer to every situation. So I'd just like Meg to take a second and cover those 4 items.
Okay, and let me know if I miss one.
Who, where, what?
Yeah, all the W's, and he just did the how. Yeah, I'm Meg, and so I am from North Carolina, but I've been here for about 10 years now. Crazy that it's been that long. And I started my own business, so I'm in that quadrant. I'm the S. And I remember when I started that business, I felt like I was in heaven. Like this is my dream of dreams, and all my financial concerns are gone. I have my own business and I love it. It's just what I know I'm meant to do. But the thing is, I am trading time for money. So now that I'm in I started it in 2015. Crazy, it's my 8th year, but I'm in my 8th year and I'm at the point where it's like, wow, I know my sweet spot. And it's 5 cases. I work with families and I work with teens and young adults. But I just want to stick with that and fill that income gap by not having to get more families in some way that's residual. So I lifted up a prayer. I was like, how can I do that? And it was amazing. Within like 1 week, I talked with Sandy. We had a little walk around the mall and she shared this with me. And I was like, what? So I'm just, it's really history from there. So, yeah.
All right, so our host for this evening, Ronnie Kenyatta, asked him to come up next. And as he said when he introduced me, we've known each other for a little over 2 years. He's coaching and helping to train our son on his baseball career, wherever that may take him. And, as I said, I've spent a decent amount of time with Ronnie over the last couple of years, spent to our home for burgers a few times. And, just a tremendous person, integrity, honesty, reliable. If he tells you he's going to be there, he's going to be there. He's just somebody that you just know when you meet him, when you talk to him, is somebody you can trust. So Ronnie, come on up. And Ronnie's about to become a copper soon. So we're excited to see that now.
Thank you. I'll start with this. I opened up my phone, checking my emails. I saw a deposit from 7K earlier.
All right.
So, yeah.
It's working.
Yes, sir.
It's working.
There you go, proof of pudding right there. But I'm originally from Maryland, Maryland, moved to Virginia. I've been here since '98 in Atlanta. And when I first moved here, I was in my dream job, working in pro baseball in school for exercise science. I was a strength and conditioning coach, working for the New York Mets. Everything's grand. Found out I had a kidney disease. Some of you might be older enough to remember Alonzo Mourning. Yeah, it's called FSGS. That's what I had, same disease. So stayed in pro baseball from 2001 to 2013. Kidney started to shut down, couldn't do it anymore. So I was on dialysis, a tough road for about 1 year and 4 months, and figured out I had to figure something out. So I just took what I did for the Mets. I do it on my own now. And like Meg said, I love my job. I love what I do, but trading time for money. I give you an example. I just got back from a 10-day trip. I went to 3 different states. Great. But, you know, I knew I had to get back because I have to pay bills. Paying the bills here is one of the bills I had to pay. And, you know, daily bills we have to pay just to live and survive. So I had to get back. My business was not running because I'm in the S quadrant as well, right? So I wanted to find a way to create some residual income and enable me to paint a picture that can lead me toward retirement, right? So I've always dabbled in gold and silver, and I met Sandy. She presented it to me. She didn't have to finish the first sentence. I was there, you know. And this team is building. I'm excited to be a part of this team. Yes, if you're looking for a way to build residual income and possibly build generational wealth for your family, this is definitely it. So thank you.
All right. Now, I want to introduce Sandy. Everybody's talking about Sandy. Tell you what, Sandy's a person with vision. She's a trailblazer, honestly, in this business. She literally found this business on her own. Nobody brought it to her. Called the company and asked if they could please have somebody sponsor her. I think that person's in Idaho or somewhere out there.
Yeah.
We don't even know.
We don't know.
Far, far away, right?
Yeah.
So so he said, sure, we'll sign her up. Let's see what she can do. Well, we're starting to see what she can do. We're really excited. All of us here are part of Sandy's team. We're excited to be part of Sandy's team because when 7K in the state of Georgia was a barren wasteland and there was nothing going on in this part of the state, Sandy hung in there. She kept talking to people. She kept talking to people. Like the rest of us, made mistakes along the way, but didn't give up, kept fighting because she had a dream. And now she's starting to see the results. This business is growing into multiple states, right? And Sandy's at the copper level, but very, very, very close. We're gonna help push her over the top to bronze. We're excited to have Sandy. I'm excited to introduce her, have her come up and tell a little bit about what she saw when she looked at this.
First and foremost, Betty, thank you for a fabulous presentation. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing it, not me. So, I was born and raised in Iowa on a farm and became the salesperson, right? I've sold for many, many companies, including IBM Corporation, and started up small businesses and was the employee for a long, long time. And after that, I went, well, I'm going to get my own practice. And so over a period of time of counseling many, many IBMers, I decided to do my own business. And I thought having my own practice as a counselor was so amazing, and it is. It's amazing. I work with people with PTSD and complex PTSD and addictions and you name it. And it's been a blessing and a lot of healing that I see go on. However, I worked for a long, long time from 8 to 10 o'clock at night, 5 days a week. And because I was striving to get that 6 figures that I got at the IBM corporations and other companies. And I was realizing that I was losing myself. And I didn't want to lose myself. And in fairness to my clients, I wanted to be able to laugh again and have friendships again and balance in my life. And so I decided that I wasn't going to do anything other than just keep talking about trading time for dollars, and I needed to have something else. And I experienced the Canadian truckers a couple of years ago, and I always tell this story where I saw that the government didn't like their behavior, and next thing you know, they're freezing their personal accounts and their business accounts, and I went, that could happen. And so that was a problem for me. And since then, I've done a lot of homework on the CBDC and the BRICS nations and all that, and I decided in looking at 7K metals, it was a perfect opportunity to, as Randy described really, really well, preserve your wealth and, oh, by the way, have passive income, so I can do whatever I wanted to that I loved, but also be able to get passive income and having all these wonderful people doing some work for me as well. So it's worked out really, really great. So that's probably the reason why I'm part of 7K as of now. My counseling has revolved into helping others grow their 7K. And that's a really big deal for me. It's a passion for me. You'll see me in many, many different networkings talking about 7K. And we'll continue to do so we continue to grow to our own goal, at least goals are right. So thank you all for joining.
Right. Thank you, Sandy.
All right, and Ronnie mentioned the contest earlier and how I'm doing pretty well with that so far. But I just want to give kudos to Sandy because, can I say this?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a leadership planning meeting coming up soon. And usually it's reserved for golds and above. But Sandy has been invited as a special guest to go and be part of that. So we're excited for Sandy to go. We're excited for Sandy to come back and tell us all the goodies that she learns about, because, I just know from experience that those founders of the company are working on, okay, what's next? What's next? How are we going to tweak this? How are we going to make this better? And I suspect she'll probably come back and say, sorry, I can't tell you. Anyway, but thank you, Sandy. Appreciate that very much. So we're excited to have you go there. So we're gonna wrap up right now. For those who would like to depart, you are welcome to depart. For those who want to watch me make ugly pictures on the whiteboard and talk about how to get to bronze and a little bit about our thoughts on bronze. And then what we're doing with the Gold Rush system that we're launching on October 14th, whatever the Saturday is. I think it's the 14th. We're really excited about that. So I'm going to do a preview of that for those who are interested. Other than that, appreciate your all time. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. How long are we gonna break for?
2 minutes,
Yeah.
whatever.
We're just gonna break for about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Long enough to shut that off and
okay.
put the board up. So
Yeah.
watch,
All right.
watch how fast that goes.
Can we just close that? All right.
And we'll do it.
Okay.
Take that out. Here we go. You got it over there. Take the business card. Over this table. No, I think you can see the whiteboard over the table. Lights on? Yeah, we can put lights on now. That's cool. Uh-oh, let's go. All right, I don't know, folks on the Zoom, or as Ronnie said, folks out in Zoom land, I don't know if you can see the board or not, but I'm gonna draw on anyway. All right, so, we talked, we're gonna cover 3 things real quick, right? Talked about the accelerator plan, the business family pack, and the concept of just needing 2 growing groups, right? So let's say this is you, okay? This could be a spouse, this could be a child, this could be an LLC, and this could be you, your LLC could sponsor you, and this could be your spouse. However you do it, this is how the business family pack works. So you sign up this business at $4.99. That business has the ability to see everything in the other businesses. These businesses can do the $1.99 because all the reporting and everything that you get for the $4.99 package you have here, but you still have these 2 businesses. right? So it's like $923, still under $1,000. You can get the Accelerator Business Family Pack going. Now, what you do then is you build one business. You build this business here. You don't build this business. You don't build this business. You get this business on autosaver, you get this business on autosaver, you get this business on autosaver. It's important to get these two businesses on autosaver because as you build this business over here, this business over here, all of the points that flow through that organization start to accumulate on the side of these two businesses. That could become thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of points. Those go into the bank and those points can get converted to dollars once you come back and focus on these businesses later. But the point is you build one business, not three businesses. You're not sharing contacts. You know, you're looking to get people involved. You don't want to have to get people involved for three different teams. You just want to get them involved for one team, this team. So these are for later. Don't put any people under these people. They are for later. Then you go out and, well, for this, I got ahead of myself. Okay, so then you want to get to copper. So how do you get to copper? Well, you put this person in here, you put this person in here, you put one person under here, one person under here, one person under here. This is an associate number one. This is associate number two. So you have an associate and one more person on each side. Now you're a copper, you're eligible to earn up to $1,000 a week. Okay, now you have to build these teams out to get the points flowing through to get to $1,000 a week, but you set out the structure. Okay, next thing you do is you add another person over here, and you add another person over here. Okay, and you help these people get to associate. Right here, associate, associate, help this person add another person, help this person add, help this person add, associate, 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 right? Now, here at bronze. So Sandy and Ronnie and I sat down and talked the other day. And we said, we need to help people make money in this business. It's important to help people make money in this business. Now, we settled on bronze. Now, Andrea and I talked earlier today, and I said, you know, we all see the world through our own eyes. I think about my paycheck and I think, wow, $2,000 a week, $8,000 a month, that would make a big difference. I think it would make a big difference for almost everybody. But you know what we thought about is associate at $500 a week, $2,000 a week makes a lot of difference for a lot of people too. We arbitrarily picked bronze, but if getting to copper and making $4,000 a month or $1,000 a week, or getting to associate and making $500 a week, that's like really exciting to you, then we want to help you do that. We don't think everybody in this business necessarily has to become presidential gold. Everybody has different goals, everybody has different dreams, everybody has different aspirations, and quite honestly, everybody has a different level of belief right now. Some people might not believe that they can make $12,500 a week because they've never done that before in their life and they've never even seen it. That's okay. How about $500 a week? How about $1,000 a week? So we kind of settled on a nice intermediate level of $2,000 a week or $104,000 a year. So this mess that I just made up here gets you to that level. A bronze. Now we want to max you out at bronze at $2,000 a week. So our objective is to help as many people as we possibly can get to bronze. And when you get to bronze, honestly, we don't even want to worry about silver. We just want to help you max out the income at bronze. Because can anybody honestly tell me that $8,000 a month wouldn't be a big deal? Really? Right. So let's just do that. And what do you need? You need these groups to grow. And you need to put you need to put another person over here. You need this group to help. You need to help this person grow, and you help this person grow. These two people are in. What they do is they set you up for later, but they also help you to get to copper quickly. They also help you get to bronze quickly because you've got one of those people there who's on autosaver who qualifies as a leg for you, right? Now, when you get to bronze, Sandy and Ronnie and I have been talking about, we have a special program that we're putting in place. Leadership Council, right? Leadership Council. So when people get to bronze, they get invited to be part of Leadership Council. When you're in Leadership Council, we have a very special thing that we're going to introduce to help create multi-generational perpetual wealth, if that's something you're interested in. 7K is the centerpiece and the focus of that. But there are other things we want to introduce you to that we've been researching and figuring out that will allow this thing to just be even more amazing than it already is. So get to bronze and you'll find out what that's all about. Okay. Now, in order to get to bronze, what did Robert Kiyosaki say in his cash flow quadrant book? To have a business be successful, you need two things. You need a well-developed system, and you need people to work the system. We are all people, as far as I know. None of us identify as a cat. Right? So we're people, we can work the system. We have a system called our Gold Rush system. We thought it sounded cool, but we're not really gonna rush. But we've set up something we call your golden year. Okay? Your golden year is that when you're ready to get started, we're laying out a program that if you follow the program, you can go from 0 to gold in a year. But let's just focus on bronze. So we have 5 days to set up the foundation of your business, to build a strong foundation. We have 10 days to associate if you use the accelerator plan, right? Or 30 days if you don't. 60 days copper. 90 days to bronze. And then we're going to do what we call optimize your business. You want to optimize your business to max out the compensation level at $2,000 a week at bronze. And invite you into the Leadership Council. So Ronnie's in the process of building out a communication app. Some of you may have seen it a little bit, but it's still in the works. We're going to roll that out at our first ever Gold Rush training. Okay. So on the 14th of October, 10 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock noon, we're going to do training for those 2 hours somewhere. Place to be determined off of exit 8. I think we're looking towards a place down there. 10 to 12, we're going to do the training. And then after that, for those who are interested, we're going to just go out and grab a bite and just spend a little time enjoying one another's company and talking about the training, answering any questions. But that's just part of the system. So we're building this system, or the system is pretty well built out. We're going to launch it in October. And what you want to do is you want to get into the system, follow the system, get into the program, because if you follow the program, your chances of success go up drastically. So that's what I wanted to share tonight as a little bonus capsule here. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any idea what that says?
It's great. It is.
Questions at all? Fine. Thank you.